Yeah, so namaste and good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our Sunday special on studying the Diamond Sutra. Today, we're going to do chapters 15 and 16. So we are midway between the 32 chapter Diamond Sutra series. And we have gone through a lot in understanding what the Diamond Sutra wants us to convey and understand. So the Sanskrit name of this is Vajra Chedika Pragya Paramita Sutra. This version that we are doing it is as it is. So also called as Diamond Sutra as it is, translated by Acharya Nagajiva. And this is translated to Chinese from Sanskrit by Tripitaka Acharya Kumarajiv. Unfortunately, many in India don't know who is Kumarajiv. So through this series, we introduce one of our greatest scholars who was able to translate a lot of Sanskrit versions of Indian wisdom into Chinese. And his name was Kumarajiv. Then we've translated this from English to Chinese through the help of Acharya Nagajiva, our own loving Dr. Lim. Very important to note here is there is no attempt at interpretation or any explanation of the sutras by the translator. So this is just been translated as it is. Every teacher, every guide who is going to use this sutra is going to teach it based on the audience, based on the student. And so he has the flexibility to use the principles or the essence of the sutra to guide people. Okay, so we move forward just quickly to let you know that any authentic sutra is a recorded at the moment of teaching. So every authentic sutra will come with the starting saying, "Thus have I heard." Aisa maine suna tha, aisa kaha tha. And in India, we use the word aisa kaha hai, means that is an authentic statement. Because in India, we use Shabda Praman. The word has more value than anything else. And that is how the Indian civilization has always existed, the value of the word. Now we go into so many things. We want agreement and all those things. In olden days, it was the value of the word. Even stories. When there are stories, we make it very clear, kaha nahi hai. So you might have heard a lot of kaha nahis. Okay, so they are called in Hindi kahaniya. So that is very clear. It is kaha nahi and kaha hai. So sutra starts with, "Thus have I heard." Aisa kaha hai. So very, very important. This setting is in Shravasti and Buddha is there in the Jetavana Grove at the Adantapindika Park with an assembly of 1,250 great monks. Before mealtime, the Bhagwan is putting in his robe, holding his bowl, entering the great city of Shravasti from house to beg for food. This is very, very important. That means even a personality like the Buddha was giving first preference to his duty, his job of engaging with the society. He did not teach any disengagement with the society. The Bhagwan then returned to the retreat, took his meal, put away his robe and bowl, washed his feet, arranged his seating, and sat down to focus his mind and meditate. Very clear, everything he was doing. He did not say that somebody ordered this and that. Even from your seating to taking his meal, washing his bowl, putting down his robe, everything he was doing it himself. That means life is all about doing things independently. Dependency is not what you will ever experience happiness for. So remembering that the state of your duty, your responsibility should always be taken independently, as voluntarily as you can, and then fulfilling that. But the most important thing is he sat down to focus his mind and meditate. That means before doing something, it is very important to get the mind in the present moment. And meditate is not something that you let go. Meditate is something that you engage in without any kind of disturbance, wandering here and there. So that means meditation is 100% engagement in the moment. Okay, and that's exactly what we do in Shunya. Then the story goes on, and I'm sure everybody have gone through the previous series. So we had the inquiry from an elder. That was the chapter 2, where we saw Subhuti asking the Buddha a question, and that's where the whole Diamond Sutra comes into existence, where somebody is asking a question and Buddha is answering. So most of these sutras our question answer series. So any knowledge is acquired only through inquiry. Most of the people stop the process of inquiry because they become blind followers. And Buddha always said that always inquire about things. Only through inquiry will you understand the dharma, the nature of things. And when you understand dharma, the nature of things, that's exactly which will lead you to end suffering. So science basically starts with inquiry. With inquiry, we get to know. With knowing, we can apply what we know and make life better. And that is exactly what dharma is. So then we know that he is asking a simple question: how should a virtuous man and a virtuous woman? Now, virtuous man, virtuous woman is one who follows Panchashil. Okay, Panchashil are dynamic principles that you use to engage with the world, right? We have a Panchashil, and I'm sure everybody knows about it. How one who uses these dynamic principles of Panchashil can achieve the highest state, the Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, and be out of the world of suffering. So Buddha said how such a person, so Subhuti asked Buddha how such a person can focus their mind and control their thoughts. I think this is a very relevant question even for today's time. How can one focus his mind and control his thoughts? Because if you look at suffering, suffering is exactly when the mind wanders and one is not able to focus. And one, if he achieves that ability of the mind to focus and be, not controlled by the thoughts, but he himself controlling the thoughts, I think that itself is liberation. Then Buddha goes on to explaining how one should not be attached to name, form, selves, people, beings, or existence. And such a person who is not attached to that is the one who is going to achieve the state of Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Then we talked about how in the chapter 4, the practice without attachment. And then we understood how Buddha was telling how one who is not attached to thing is able to focus his mind. Because once you're attached, even if you look at Tarzan, if he's going to swing from one place to another place, he has to hold on to a swing on one side, then let go of that to hold on to another one. If you're going to hold on to the last swing, you cannot go to the next swing. And that's how moment to moment we move from one moment to another moment. If you hold on to the previous moment, you cannot jump into the next moment. So many people today suffer from mental sickness or even physical sickness is because they don't know how to let go. Let go is something that is not a choice or willing. It needs to be conditioned. Only through conditioning you can let go. And Shunya is exactly the practice that teaches you how to condition the mind to let go. Like we did the 9 to 0. We did 9, we observed, then we let go of 9. We saw 8, 8 we let go 7. We keep on doing this, and that's how our basic practice of Samatha Vipassana can lead us to achieve a state of let go. That means not being held by the mind in any moment. And one who is not held by the mind in any moment is free to wander in this world and live this world to the fullest. Okay, this is great experiential world. You get once in a lifetime a chance to come here. So make the best use of it. There is no need for you to suffer. Okay, so the real form of Buddha we did in chapter 5, we did chapter 6, where we understood the true faith is rare. To have faith in something, okay, is very rare. And if somebody has faith in something, he becomes so confident. So confidence is basically faith. And people are now lacking faith in themselves. And that is why confidence is also gone for a toss. So we learned how through faith is rare and how one can cultivate that faith. Then we studied how the Tathagata has no teaching. Because teaching is something that you're fixed. If you have something fixed, then you're in that mode of that fixed way. You start living life statically when the world itself is dynamic. So teaching should be dynamic. If you're a teacher who is teaching cricket, to some person, you're a coach, you cannot give your experiential lessons to that and say you have to bat like that. Depending on his situation, his condition, what kind of skill set he has, what is his inclination, you can give him the principles and the guiding, but the game will be his. The skill will be his. What he will acquire will be something unique that nobody else has ever had. Okay. So again, we go to chapter 8. All Buddhas spring forth from this sutra. So this sutra basically is the birthplace for all the Buddhas to be born. That means if we have to become a Buddha ourselves, become one who is free from all the suffering, achieve the highest state of Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, achieve that state of Nirvana, then this is the sutra where the Buddha is born. So very, very important sutra. Form is no form. So what you fix as form is no form. So any image becomes imagination. And if you live your world based on imagination, then you are living in a false world. Okay, so we learned that form is no form. And then we went on to understand the adornment of the pure land, the land where there is no more suffering, how one can achieve that land. Then we also did in chapter 11, the merit of teaching the sutra. So the best way of learning is teaching. So when you get something, the best way is to go and teach. That is how the Gurukul system of India was. If somebody learned something, so in a second year student, if he learned something, he used to teach it to the first year student. The first year student, he got something, he taught it to the lower one. And the second year student was taught by the third year student. So everybody was learning through teaching. This particular Gurukul system has gone for a toss in India now because somebody is teaching. I remember my school, the 5th standard teacher who taught history. Students came and went and went and went. She was still teaching 5th history. Okay, so maybe she just became a machine and who knew the 5th standard history very well. Okay, so you should understand, to be a good teacher, you need to teach what you learn at the very moment and let them teach what they have learned. The merit of teaching the sutra. Of course, there is merit of anything that you do, and there are demerits also of anything that you do. So when you do something good, definitely good is going to come. Something you do bad is definitely going to be bad. But something that you do non-conceptual, this world without having concepts, and you do something, that is creativity. And remember, if you sync yourself creatively with this creation itself, which is creatively doing everything at every moment, creating something, you are then a part of creation itself, and creation is liberating itself. It's amazing. It's not suffering. So we become the part of that liberation. We become the part of that creation. Respect the true teaching, chapter 12. We need to respect the true teaching. For that, you need to understand what is true teaching and false teaching. Then we also came to know about, in chapter 13, what is the naming of the sutra. Why is it called the Vajra Chedika Pragya Paramita Sutra? And Subhuti and the Buddha are in conversation, and beautiful conversation. So the fact that the sutra is being named in a conversation, that means definitely they were compiling this data and putting this like we do in a folder. After all the documents that we collect, we put it in a folder and we name the folder. So exactly that's how naming is. Okay, then we also studied in chapter 14 that how you're free from all signs. If you get something, because when you look at dharma or you look at the nature of things, you have certain signs and symptoms on the basis of which you analyze. For example, today when you talk of diabetes, people are so looking into the sign of diabetes that if your blood sugar goes beyond 130, 140, oh, you got diabetes. No. It depends on situation and circumstances and everything. Just because your blood sugar says something, do not define it as a disease. Okay, there are many things that all together compile, and then you can name something. So just naming something on the basis of science is not right. So you should be free. Before you define something, you should be free of all the signs. Okay. Then we also studied, that was chapter 14, and that's where we ended last time. So today we are going to have chapter 15. Very, very important chapter. Merit of practicing the sutra. First we understood the merit of teaching the sutra. Now, practicing. See how important it is. First, you're being taught. Then you teach. Third is you practice. People do exactly the other way around. People go into practicing and then teaching. Then you're teaching what you have experienced. No, what you do is, once you know, you start teaching. With teaching, you get to know, oh, is it working, not working, plus or minus. Once you are sure that this is what I taught and this is exactly what they learned, I have got everything clear. Now is the time to practice. And practicing, there is a merit attached to practicing also. So here, let's go to the chapter 15 where we try to understand merit of practicing the sutra. The floor is open for questions. Anybody at any time in the studio as well as online, if they have any question, can put that in the comment section or you all can ask here also, okay? So let's go. An interesting chapter, merit of practicing the sutra. Subhuti. On the one hand, if a virtuous man or a virtuous woman sacrifices their bodies numerous times equal to the number of grains of sands in the Ganges in the morning and in the middle of the day, sacrifices their bodies equal to the number of grains of sands in the Ganges, and at the end of the day also sacrifices their bodies equal to the number of grains of sand in the Ganges, and made these sacrifices of their bodies in this way for immeasurable hundreds and thousands of billions of kalpas. And on the other hand, if there were a person who heard this sutra with unchanging faith, the merit of this person would exceed that of the former. Now here they are talking about celestial merit and supreme merit. Celestial merit. Now suppose Subhuti is saying, Buddha is telling Subhuti, on one hand, he's comparing, okay, because we only understand things through comparison. So now if he has to compare something immeasurable, you need to define immeasurable also. Otherwise you cannot compare. So he's saying, on one hand, if a virtuous man and a virtuous woman, okay, one who is, following the Panchashil, he's doing good things in the world, if they are ready to sacrifice, because good cannot come without sacrifice. Good has always been sacrificial. Okay, so we always see somebody doing good, we look at them, oh, how much is he sacrificing, how much good he's giving, he earns so much wealth, he's sacrificing his wealth, he has so much skills, he's sacrificing his skills or time, he's giving all those things. See, somebody who is a giver is actually one who is sacrificing something of his own, he's letting go of it, something of his own. So somebody, okay, who is practicing the Panchashil, a virtuous man or a virtuous woman, sacrifices their bodies. Now this body is the last thing that you are attached to. Even if somebody is ready to sacrifice his body, okay, numerous times. Now he has to say numerous is how much? Equal to the number of grains of sand in the Ganges. Now can you count the grains in the Ganges river? Okay, that means first there is something that is immeasurable, uncountable. So don't have that ego that, I can do so much. There is nothing. You cannot even count the grains of the sands in the Ganges. Okay. So even if you are ready to give, okay, so much as the sands of, the grains of sand in the Ganges. In the morning, again he is dividing first material, that is the grain of the sand. Second, even time, because many times people say, I've done so much good for you, so many times. That doesn't give you merit. You are not the one who is going to decide your own merit. You don't say that I did so much. I gave 100 people food 100 times for last 2 years. How much merit I've acquired? Zero. Because once you count, it is gone. In this world, all the things that are accountable will be accountable in the books of account. Once you are gone, everything wiped up, zero. So material world will go away when material part of you ceases to exist. So remember this, okay? So in the morning, in the middle of the day, sacrifices their bodies equal to the number of grains of sand in the Ganges. At the end of the day, also sacrifices their bodies equal to the number of grains of sand in the Ganges, and made these sacrifices of their body in this way for immeasurable. Now, again, not even limiting to this, even lifetimes, not this life, but even lifetimes, and made these type of sacrifices morning, afternoon, evening equal to the grains of the sand of Ganges. All the time he's sacrificing, all the time he's doing, okay? Made these sacrifices of their bodies in this way for immeasurable hundreds and thousands of billions of kalpas. Kalpas itself is immeasurable, you cannot even know. So even those for so many times. And on the other hand, so there is one, the other hand is, if there were a person who heard this sutra with unchanging faith, means has no doubt, when he hears that. The merit of this person would exceed that of the former. Pretty interesting. But if you try to understand it, you'll never understand. Okay? So you have to hear it as it is. That hearing should be able to cultivate that unchanging faith. Okay? If you try to force yourself into having faith in it, then there is a problem. So this is an acquired thing. Even to listen to something, even to get access to someone, even to get things in your life is all your acquired karma. It's something that you have been gifted. So many people, you ask, how did you do it? He says, I don't know, it just so happened that I was there at the right time and right things happened to my life, and then this is how it happened. And somebody is putting all the effort and yet he's not able to achieve something. So this thing is based on your unchanging faith. And this faith is cultivated over a lot of years and lifetimes that you have cultivated. Even to get to hear this sutra is itself the greatest blessing, because 2,500 years back, somebody was speaking to someone, and we having access to that now is itself the greatest, you can say, blessing for us. The merit of this person would exceed that of the former. That means anytime you should understand something measurable will always be lesser in comparison to something that is immeasurable. Something that you can quantify, qualify will be something that you really want to actually have born through compassion. Okay, so this is something that comes naturally with your conditioning over the periods of lifetimes and lifetimes. You get that conditioning. So some people are born like that. Some people are born like that. So there is the good ones are born, the bad ones are born, but there is a way in which we know what we are is when we listen to sutras. Through sutras, we get that awakening call. We get that spark that actually triggers us. So now it gets interesting here. How much more so in the case who copies it, memorizes it, reads it, and explains it to others. First, if somebody listens to it, all the sacrifices that people do, this one supersedes. Only listening. But how much so if somebody is actually copying it? Because in those days, we have nowadays, the copiers, and we have Xerox and all those things. But those days, people had to, if they had to write down something, they had to copy. So copies it, memorizes it, okay, reads it, and explains it to others. The merit would be unimaginable. Subhuti, in summary, this sutra carries inconceivable, immeasurable, and unlimited merits. And the Tathagata teaches it to those who wish to practice the superior way, to ride on the superior vehicle. Only who want to do Paramarth, the basic essence of human nature, is to provide joy for himself and joy for everyone. Experience the bliss for himself and make others experience the bliss of this world. So without even the slightest experience of sorrow and suffering, if he can make this world around him a place where everybody is happy, satisfied, nobody suffering, bring them to equilibrium, we call that samatha, and bring nobody to have a state of disturbance or unhappiness, he has acquired great merit, and that is the superior way. And to ride the superior vehicle, because in this world, this body is also a vehicle. Everything you want to move from one place to another, you need a vehicle. A medium is always needed. And through this medium, there are different types of medium. And this itself is a superior vehicle. Okay? Any person who is able to memorize, recite, and widely teach this sutra to others is known by the Tathagata and is seen by the Tathagata, that they will receive immeasurable, innumerable, immeasurable, unlimited, inconceivable merit. They are the carrier of the Tathagata's Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Why is this so? So he is telling a statement that anybody who teaches this sutra widely, okay, is going to get immeasurable, uncountable, unlimited merits. Okay, and the Tathagata knows that. Now, Tathagata is the existence itself. Existence knows what you're doing. You are being observed. Your acts are being observed. When you do something like this, you're being observed. And Tathagata knows that. And he's aware of that. And they become the carrier of the Tathagata's Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Remember, the sutra started where Subhuti is asking how one should achieve the state of Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi if he practices the Panchashil and becomes a virtuous man and virtuous woman. So, Buddha has to explain this. So he says, why is this so? Why will he become the the carrier of the Tathagata's Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi? Buddha answers, Subhuti, those who are content with inferior teachings are attached to self-view, people-view, beings-view, and the existence-view. Such a person is not able to hear, accept, recite, and teach this sutra to others. One who is attached with already a concept about self, people, beings, existence, he already has a concept of that and is engaging with that view in this world. He's already having an inferior view of this world, because this world, this existence cannot be held in a view. You cannot have a view of this existence. This existence is something that you are not even capable to decipher the meaning of. So don't hold on to the self, the people, the being, and existence view. So such a person is very rare, and such a person is not able to hear, accept, recite, teach this sutra. Why? Because if they do so, the whole view itself is going to be shattered. Remember, Vajra Hedika, Pradyaparamita Sutra. Vajra means the strongest of the elements. So we say diamond. But Vajra is itself a very strong element that even Indra holds. Vajra Chedika, even something that you can cut it down or break it down. Such a sutra, so wisdom lies in this sutra. Okay. So Subhuti, wherever this sutra is found, all the humans, gods, and asuras should come and make offerings. So whoever, now how do I know that who are humans? We should know we are humans. If we don't even know we are humans, we are gods, we are asuras. If we don't know that, then we don't even know what we are. And then since we don't know, we don't do anything because we are conditioned. But once we realize what we are, now we need to realize we are humans. And if we are humans, we need to have humanity. We need to have compassion within us. And that comes only and only by following the Panchashil, by being a virtuous man and a virtuous woman. Now, when you realize this, wherever this sutra is, all the humans, all the devas, all the asuras should come and give their offerings. Okay? Such a place should be equally known as a shrine. This is the place where wisdom lies, is the shrine, where all should venerate. Go there and respect. Circle it respectfully, the place where there is teaching. So the importance of a school, a teaching, your understanding, to get something new, knowledge, is the most respectful place. Okay? And offer aromatic flowers around that place. When you offer flowers, flowers have always been symbolic of moments of happiness, bliss. That momentary thing that is going to, with conception, is going to fruit someday. Flowers are what we offer. Flowers is a way of letting people know that we respect something so divine. In Indian culture, we definitely have this culture of offering flowers to the divine. Like a language that we speak, that this momentary phase of this plant, we also understand we are just flowered ourselves. Now we have understood, and we also are offering that flower symbolically to that. Okay, it's not to do blindly, it has a meaning when you do such a thing. So that's how you need to understand that wherever this sutra is, the shrine of wisdom lies there. And we should respect that place also. Because that's where all the devas, all the humans, all the asuras, the superior beings will come. Because this cannot be understood by inferior beings. Nobody, somebody who is still struggling to have his ends meet, like wants to feed himself, has responsibility of his family, survival, he's still in the survival mode. How can he come to the actualization mode? Such a person is just here to survive. Very few are born to realize. And this is the sutra of realization. So not everybody can have access. So it is said You will go, as you go further, that 500 years before the world perishes, to find a person who can even understand this sutra or even practice this sutra will be the rarest of the rare possibilities. Okay. So I think till now we understand that how one can get and how much merit you can get from practicing this sutra. No way you can get that because there is no concept. Once you quantify, qualify, there is concept. So he has broken the whole idea of having a concept beside your merit. So do not have any expectation in terms of merits. It is immeasurable, uncountable. And because it is uncountable, immeasurable, you stop it. Even you see, when you look at a calculator, you put some numbers, the calculator also folds and says, beyond this I cannot do, right? So similarly, the mind also knows that if something is immeasurable, uncountable, that's where it stops. It's everything just ends there. And that's where we begin. Okay, so very, very important. Okay, let's go to the next chapter, the second chapter, the 16th chapter, cleansing the bad karma. Okay, now very interesting because this chapter has been named like that. Okay, bad karma. Okay, so definitely that gives rise to good karma also. So that means actions are the things that decide good and bad, not thoughts. So having a thought saying I have a good thought and a bad thought, it doesn't work. It's your action, your karma that can be good and bad. Only your deeds can be good and bad. Okay, very, very important. So if you understand this, you will realize that we need to be engaging the world with our duty. Our karma is going to decide the good and bad. Okay? Yeah, if you have questions, you can ask. Furthermore, Subhuti, if there is a virtuous man or a virtuous woman who memorizes and recites this sutra, but is belittled by others, okay, it is because of the bad karma of the person in his previous life, which he was destined to suffer from. Now imagine you take this sutra and you want to recite it, copy it and teach it to others, but people laugh. People belittle that person. Okay, don't worry. Don't have any hatred towards them. It is just because of our bad karma that we are getting this. Because whatever you receive was meant for you. It was a letter that was sent to you in this lifetime. So you should never have hatred. You see, Jesus Christ also said, love thy neighbor, even your neighbor, everywhere. It is just one thing. Do not hate, do not have any curse for anybody else. Okay, very, very important because everything that you're receiving was meant for you. Take it. When you start taking that with a smile, you'll see all your karmas wash away. Otherwise, somebody instigating a bad karma in you and you bringing it out, you're again in the loop. You will develop new karma. Again, you will have hate, anger, frustration, irritation, and that will give rise to another set of bad karma within you. So, you should, even when you're teaching this, because when you teach this, people go crazy. It is said in this sutra that very rare is a person who will not go in shock or will have amazed, all will find this foolish when you teach this sutra. Because it is not possible that somebody can just grasp it like this. It is not so easy for a one who is not conditioned to receive it. Okay. So, is because of the previous lives which he was destined to suffer from. But by enduring the disparagement of others in the present life, the bad karma of the previous lives can be removed. Now, apply this in life, We have done something bad for people, but when you want to do good for people, people still see you as a bad person, blah, 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 and they still don't want to, and they torture you, they abuse you, and all those things happen naturally. If you will react to them, then you will still be in the loop. But you let go of that. You don't hold on to it, and you keep on doing good. All the past, people will change. Remember the story of Angulimal? When Angulimal was, had a chance to meet Buddha, and Buddha told, stop what you're doing. Okay, no more killing. He said, no, if I stop, these people will kill me. He said, you have killed enough. What is the problem if they kill you? But can you stop? Then he says, he agrees to that he has to stop. So every time he, even though became a monk, he used to go in the village. Everybody used to stone him, hit him, and he used to take all the pain. Every time he used to tell Buddha, now I'm doing good. Why do they still hate me? He's saying, you're just washing all your karma. You should be grateful and thankful for everybody who's stoning you, hitting you. Because what all you did, 99 lives that you killed, they are helping you to clean that up. It's like a small boy who has been in the gutter, dirty. When he comes home, the mother takes him, rips his clothes off, washes him, and he keeps on crying. Why is mother doing this? Why is she pouring water? Why is she doing this? Why is she scrubbing me? Because she's cleaning you. Trust the existence, Every tough part of your life, existence like a mother is cleaning you up so that it gets its own child, its own creation back as pure as it was. So you should be grateful and thankful for everything that is happening. Every scrubbing in your life, every wash in your life is something that you should appreciate, not run away from. But if you run away, then you'll remain the dirty one as it is. Okay, so very, very important. The bad karma from the previous lives can be removed. And finally, he can attain Anuttara Samyak Sambuddhi. Once all the bad is gone, once all the delusion is gone, wisdom is born. You don't need to bring wisdom out. Only take away everything out, away from that. How does the glass shine beautifully? Just clean it up. Its basic nature is to shine. How can we become good? Take away the bad things. All the bad gone, we are basically good. That is our nature. That is our dharma. Otherwise, from the humans, a Buddha cannot be born. You understand? From the humans, Asura cannot be born. Animal cannot be born. Human is the central phase from which all the species are born. You can say it's the basic germ cells from all the other beings to come into existence. So understand this, the human life is so rare, so rare. When Buddha was asked how rare is human life, he says it is like a huge ocean which you cannot even see. It is unimaginable, huge ocean. In this ocean lies a turtle with one flap, struggling. But this turtle has to struggle to come out to take breath. And then it dives deep again. Then comes out again to take breath, then goes inside. Imagine there is a one round ring, wooden ring, thrown into this big ocean. How much is the probability and the chance of the turtle that is coming out to take the air? And exactly at that very moment, the ring is also around it. You see, the monk says it's extremely, extremely, extremely rare, Bhagavan. Such a possibility is very, very rare. I cannot even imagine that there is even a possibility of the turtle coming and the ring exactly being on that in the huge, vast ocean. He's saying 1,000,000 times is rare where you are born in this human existence, where you, as a turtle, pop up into this body, into this world, and so value this life and give life the maximum importance to better off. Okay, do not just hang yourself if something comes up and suffering comes up and people do suicide, and that's so foolish. Giving away a life which is not given by you, it was given to you. Taking something that does not belong to you itself is breaking the Shila. Okay, so our second Panchashila says, you shall not take something that does not belong to you. This life does not belong to you. Don't think that it is your ownership. And so when you suffer, just take a rope and hang yourself. That is not the way you live this life. You live the life the way, if it is given to you, you make sure you give your heart and soul to protect this life and make the best of it till it is taken back. That is how you live in this world. Okay. So, Subhuti, countless of asankhya kalpa ago, before the advent of Dipankara Buddha. Now, Buddha is not claiming that he is the first one. He's saying many kalpas ago, asankhya. Okay. Before the advent of Dipankara Buddha, like him, the Sakyamuni Buddha, there was his teacher who was named as Dipankara Buddha. I have encountered 84,000 billion of countless Buddhas. Before he met the Dipankara Buddha, who actually predicted that you will be, Sakyamuni Buddha will be becoming a Buddha in the next lifetime. It was Dipankara Buddha who said that. And so before even meeting the Dipankara Buddha, 84,000 billion of countless of Buddhas he has served. Okay, serving them and making offerings to them without lapse. He kept on serving all the Buddhas. He kept on improving himself. If there is a person in the final era, that means the Kali Yuga, who is able to memorize and recite this sutra, this person's merit will be 100 times. Sorry, he says 100 trillion times, an incalculable number of times greater than the merit I gained from offering to all these Buddhas, because I gained all the merits in the good times of existence when there was Satya Yuga and there was Treta Yuga and all those Dwapar Yuga. But in Kali Yuga, if somebody does this, even this sutra he recites, they will get immeasurable merits. What took me 84 billion lifetimes is going to happen in this lifetime if you can actually understand and recite this sutra, memorize it. Okay, so you can imagine how it is important that in this last era, the Kali Yuga that we call, where life is getting so tough, we are being washed. That's the final phase, First, when you are again going back to the child example, dirty child, first you put water, you just clean it up. Then at the final stage comes in the stone. In India, we actually use the stone to rub the mother. Till the time it actually doesn't move, the mother keeps on rubbing and taking up completely because it wants its child to be clean and neat again. It was in the gutter. He doesn't want it to. He wants the child back in her lap, clean so that it can feed the milk. Okay, exactly the way existence works. Wants it back in the purest form. It will clean you. Let it do that. Appreciate every cleaning process that is happening. And Kali Yuga process is super fast, super strong, but very, very powerful. Okay, so appreciate that we are born in Kali Yuga, that time itself, which relatively becomes shorter for us, but is the greatest opportunity for us to realize and liberate ourselves. Even Buddha is saying that you will be the lucky ones. I did 84 billion, Buddhas I served, finally getting access to Dipankara Buddha, who then predicts me to become a Buddha. You all are so lucky. In Kali Yuga, you are born, you have the sutra, you are listening to it, you can recite it, you can teach it. Imagine how lucky you are to get out of this samsara so easily. Very, very important. It's like exactly the offers that come in, So initially companies come up with good offers, but when the end of sale season comes, that's the best time to buy. We are at the Kali Yuga, this is the best time to practice. Subhuti, if I elucidate the merits thoroughly to be gained by a virtuous man and a virtuous woman in the final era, who memorizes and recites this sutra, there may be some who upon hearing this develop mania, doubt, disbelief. Subhuti, you should know that as the meaning of the sutra is inconceivable, so are the merits also inconceivable. Something that can be conceived is limited. Something that is inconceivable is unlimited. So, if somebody has expectation from this sutra, trying to understand this sutra, okay, if he does that, there would be many who would go mad, crazy. They would not understand. They will have hundreds of doubts in this disbelief. They will just throw away because it's technically it has got nothing in it. And because it's got nothing, people will not see anything in it. But the essence of it is it cleans you up. Remember again, the washing mother, people want to just get away from her, run away, that child. But every time the child is held to be clean. So understand, you have to realize that if I'm developing mania, doubt, disbelief, the only way that can go away is by questioning, by being associated with it. Just fear and anxiety, your doubt, disbelief taking you away from realization, then you are in the trap of suffering and ignorance. Get out of it by questioning, engaging, practicing. So this is why this sutra has to be practiced. How do you practice this sutra? By copying it. You by reciting it, by memorizing it, by teaching it. This is how you practice this sutra. Subhuti, you should know that as the meaning of this sutra is inconceivable, so are the merits of also inconceivable. That means when you gain in so many merits, anyways, this whole process of cleansing the karma starts with this. So when you talk about this sutra, you start teaching, people will go crazy, they will run away from you. It's okay. They're cleaning you up. They're cleaning up your karma. They might call you mad, they might call you crazy, they might call you okay. Whatever it is, don't worry. They're just cleaning you up. You should appreciate and be grateful to them. Okay, I think that brings us to the end of this chapter. And so this, I'm sure, has given us enough confidence that this is the time that we have to be engaged with this sutra. And the only way of engaging is, let's test this by teaching. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the session, and we will see you next week again. Till then, thank you so much.